Just want to take this opportunity after yesterday's event to talk to you a little bit about it. DA Allen are going to go through some of our own talking points and maybe talk a little bit about some of the legislation that's coming up that was really affected, or the use of that technology was really affecting how we operated yesterday. So I wanted to cover some of that. But yesterday, just before 3 p.m., CSPD officers responded to a call for service that all of us truly would dread. If you can imagine, a vehicle was stolen, and inside the vehicle was a 2-year-old child. So if you can think about what that parent was going through when they walked out and that child was missing, or the vehicle was missing. From the moment our communications center received the call for service, we dedicated resources to find him and bring him home safely, and that's exactly what happened. And with that, Ira, I think let's show that video of the actual recovery. So we'll show you some body-worn camera video here of when the child was recovered.
10, 27. Vehicles unoccupied, we have the kid. Hi. Hi, it's okay. Hey, firm, just roll medical for us, please. Hi, buddy. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'm with the police department. We're gonna get your mama, okay? Come on. Love you. Oh, it's okay, please. It's okay. Okay, it's all good. It's okay. We're good, okay?
So that was Officer Austin Bryce and Officer Chris Hummel's body-worn camera, and I'll talk a little bit more about what you were really watching there here in just a minute. Throughout the response, patrol officers, detective units, and other resources worked with our real-time crime center with a focus on the child's recovery. Our technology was used extensively in this situation, which included automatic license plate reader, or ALPRs, to search for the stolen vehicle's movement. In our real-time crime center, detectives and analysts used dispatch, ALPR, and other technology systems to identify the stolen vehicle. And because there were no recent records, they activated real-time alerts for the vehicle in our ALPR system. They then pulled historical images from the vehicle from our ALPR database and uploaded them into our dispatch computer system, giving responding officers clear images of the stolen vehicle as they searched for it. At the same time, RTCC detectives used the live stream capability on our Axon body-worn cameras to observe in real time the search areas and actions of dozens of our officers, helping facilitate the search in a safe and effective manner. And I can't tell you how valuable that technology is for department leadership. At that point in time, several of us were in the real-time crime center. And the ability, even if I'm sitting at home and want to see what's happening, the ability to look at the body-worn cameras in real time, to be able to turn those on and see what you saw there, or see officers responding and conducting various search operations in real time at the moment it's happening with our officers, is really a game changer for law enforcement across the board, but also for the supervision, trying to make those real-time decisions. We leveraged our specific technology, which connects us to hundreds of publicly owned cameras and privately owned cameras whose owners have voluntarily opted in to help keep the community safe. We use several public communication tools available, such as Amber Alerts, our Public Information Office, and social media, to name a few, to enlist the eyes of our community to help find this child. Because of the coordinated effort, in just over 2 hours, the vehicle was located by officers several miles away. The child was found physically unharmed in the vehicle. The outcome is not luck. It's the combination of preparation, professionalism, and the responsible use of technology to ensure and advance our public safety across Colorado Springs. We're grateful for the help of our community, for the work of our police, in aiding our police officers, dispatchers, and analysts, and other civilian employees, and more than anything, for helping with the safe return of this child. We're still working to identify and apprehend the criminal who kidnapped the child. When we inevitably identify and find him, we'll arrest him and ensure that we hand DA Allen an exceptional investigation so the suspect is held accountable for his crimes. This incident, while alarming, was a tragedy that was averted, and is a reminder of the public safety value when professional trained police officers and civilian staff are given the tools that they need to keep our community safe. Unfortunately, there are legislators here in Colorado who are proposing significant limitations on using technology for public safety reasons. As your chief of police, I want to speak directly about the legislation and things being lost in the broader debate over law enforcement's use of technology. These restrictions will stand in the way of the very tools that helped save this child's life yesterday, and will help that will help bring the kidnapper to justice. Several of these proposals would significantly limit the ability of law enforcement agencies to share information with one another. Criminals don't stop at our city or jurisdictional boundaries. When agencies are restricted from sharing information quickly, lawfully, and relevant information is given across our region, opportunities are missed and the risk to victims increases. These legislators also seek to sharply limit how long law enforcement may retain certain data, even though we already operate under strong safeguards. The United States Constitution, the Colorado Constitution, record retention laws, court oversight, and detailed department policies that govern how, when, or for what reasons police may use that technology. Our officers are trained in these laws and rules, and agencies are accountable for the work that they do. Again, information sharing amongst agencies is crucial for public safety, and in this case specifically, I want to thank our partners at the FBI, Colorado State Patrol, Colorado Department of Public Safety, and the District Attorney's Office, who immediately stepped in to help. Data we use is lawfully collected, and with legal requirements placed upon us, allows cases to be solved in weeks, months, or even years later. These tools are not about surveillance for its own sake. They're used to solve crimes, find missing children, identify suspects, and clear the innocent. They allow us to get the right answer faster, and they help keep our citizens safe. Yesterday's outcome is a perfect reminder of what's at stake. Now, Mayor Yemi was unable to be here today, but he wanted to, after I briefed him, first of all, applaud the efforts that were made in getting this child safely home. But he also wanted to show his support for the responsible use of technology to keep our community safe. And with that, I'll turn it over to DA Allen for some comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. I want to start out by just pointing out that Colorado Springs Police Department does a fantastic job in keeping our community safe. They work hand in hand with the community. They use cutting edge technology, and the chief talked about it already, the real-time crime center that uses those cutting edge technologies that are available to the public and to policing to uphold public safety and to serve the community. And you know, it's unfortunate that we have to deal with evil being committed in our community. But I can tell you that there's no better agency in the state of Colorado than going after evildoers and holding them accountable by effectively investigating and handing over cases to the DA's office for prosecution, and that's what they're doing in this case. Because we don't have a suspect in custody yet, I'm going to not talk about the case itself. The chief has already given you plenty of information about that. But what I really want to talk about is the legislation that Chief Vasquez just mentioned. I often refer to this time of year as silly season in Colorado. When the legislature is in business, they are putting forth bills that sometimes are good for the community, but as it relates to criminal justice reform, are often a negative towards public safety. And there's two bills in particular that I want to highlight. One is called the PEEPS bill, but it's titled by the sponsors as Protecting Everyone from Excessive Police Surveillance. There is nothing more nonsensical than the title of that bill in that acronym PEEPS. It should be titled Protecting Perpetrators of Crime, because what it effectively does is it handcuffs police from using technologies that are available to businesses in the community, to private citizens in the community. And yet, the sponsors of that particular bill want to handcuff police departments and prevent them from using tools that actually solve crime and hold evildoers accountable. The other is 261037, and that is designed to prevent law enforcement from accessing information that is held by third parties. So think about, you all have cell phones. Everything that you do publicly, whether you shop at particular stores, anything like that, all of that information is available to you. The things that you consume online, what social media things that you click on, that kind of thing. All of that information is available to businesses that want to sell people things, that want to take advantage of whatever their proclivities are. And yet, this piece of legislation would say, yeah, it's okay for a business operator to have that information, but it's not okay for police to have that information. And so what these sponsors of these bills are really saying to the people of Colorado is that it's okay for criminals to use cutting-edge technology to both plan, perpetrate, and then hide their crimes. But it would be wrong for police to use technologies to go after those criminals. It is beyond time for our legislators to start focusing on upholding public safety, upholding the rule of law, stop protecting criminals, and start standing with victims. And that's really what I think this case represents. The police used, one, really good policing. They used cutting-edge technology, and they were able to recover a child who had no choice in being kidnapped. And these two bills that I just mentioned would hamper their ability to do that into the future. And what that means is that these legislators are standing with kidnappers. They're standing with people that want to create harm in our communities, instead of standing with that 2-year-old child who was kidnapped in a car and taken from his mother. So again, I just want to urge people in this community to make sure that they're paying attention to the bills that are being proposed by their legislators and engage in that process. If there's a bill like these two bills that I just mentioned, reach out to your legislators and tell them what you think they should be doing with their criminal justice reform bills. This system only works, this legislative system only works if members of this community engage with their legislators, let them know what things that they should or should not be working, because they do represent the community that they are supposed to serve. And without that occurring, we are going to continue to see bad bills like this that really erode public safety, that really stand with criminal evildoers and turn the back on criminal victims in our communities. So again, thank you for being here. Thank you for your attention to what I think is a very serious matter and to this legislative process. So thank you.
All right, thank you, DA. Celeste, do you want to pop your mic up here? You got just a minute if you want to, before we open it up to Q&A. So I'll mention, so the BWC that the chief showed you is being posted on our Facebook page right now, as you see it, as we're speaking, along with a statement from the chief that reiterates what he said here at the press conference. And again, we hope the community will go listen to the chief's full message if they catch a glimpse of this on your coverage. You feel free to lift it off the Facebook page, or if we can get it to you another way, just talk to me after the press conference and we'll do that. So with that, we'll open it up to some questions.
Was the real time, were they able to monitor that kid, the video we were seeing, were they seeing that live, or was that recorded?
Yeah, Chief?
So the question was, in the real-time crime center, were those people that were in there able to monitor that body-worn camera live? That's exactly the benefit, one of the many benefits of the body-worn camera. They were able to pull that up as it was happening and watch that in real time. I happened to be in the real-time crime center at that moment and was able to watch that in real time.
And we were seeing a picture that went out on social of the car. That's from a historic photo. Where do those historic photos come from?
So the database for our ALPR system can store those, and we can search that data right now, and that's what DA Allen is talking about. One of the restrictions potentially posed in this legislation would prevent that type of searching of that database to be able to pull that kind of data.
So you have that picture, and does that go out to all officers so they know exactly what they're looking for, car type, and did that help the officers yesterday go?
There it is. Absolutely. So the question was, we pulled that photo, and we did send it out to every officer that was out there. And we had a lot of resources out there that were helping with the search. We had drones up and just a lot of technology in use. But yes, we're able to send that picture to every officer that's searching so that they have it right there in front of them as they're doing the search and exactly what happens.
Jonesing things here. Amber Alert. We knew in social media when it seems like there was a delay on Amber Alert. Is that a state versus local thing, or what happened there?
Yeah, we started working through, there's a whole process, documentation and things that you have to provide to CBI for the Amber Alert. We were in the process of doing that. In the meantime, that's why we sent all the information out to all of the media outlets, the vehicle description, child description. We sent it out to CDOT and all of our law enforcement partners in the meantime while we were getting that Amber Alert documentation up to CBI.
One more, we're right on the border of no man's land there, where we're near the county, and I heard the dispatch came in to county, I guess to get crossed up there.
That I'm not aware of.
Or not?
I have not heard of that. I'm not aware of.
Yeah.
We can clarify
It's
that, but I have
grapevine
not heard of
that
that.
Sheriffs got the call and they were talking to your dispatch, it was real time happening. But when you're like that, and you're right next to the county, that car could have easily gone to the county. Say you have a picture, does this legislation you're talking about, would it prevent you from, we're in the city, we got it, but we can't send it to the sheriff's office because they're not our jurisdiction, or?
Well, and maybe DA Allen can really talk about the specifics of sharing the information, but that is one of the concerns.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything in there that would prevent that sort of cross-pollination of information between agencies when it's a question like what you're describing. But it doesn't take much imagination to go back to a time when we didn't have a lot of sharing between law enforcement agencies. When the post-attack on 9/11 happened, there was a lot of discussion about there was not a good sharing of information, and that led to the attack on 9/11. That's kind of what we're seeing now, is that there's legislation being passed in Colorado that prevents the police department from working with other law enforcement agencies, whether it's federal or local, and using data and technologies that would be effective in policing. And that will have a negative impact on public safety, and that's why I think it's important that we talk about those types of bills in a very public way.
While you're here,
Yeah.
I don't think you can talk to this because you said the guy hasn't been arrested, but in a case where a kid's in a car and somebody hops in and they think they're stealing a car and then they realize there's a kid in the back, is it still an enhancer? Does that make sense?
It would depend on a bunch of factors. We can talk in hypotheticals, but it's always going to come down to the factors involved in a particular investigation, so I'd rather not say, especially since we have a pending investigation on this one in particular.
So if this technology was not used or we didn't have it, how long would it have taken, how much time would that have taken to find and locate the kid?
So the question was, if we didn't have the technology in place, how long would it take to find the kid in these circumstances? And really, that's very difficult to say without, we would be guessing on direction of travel, for example. Some of the things that we might be able to discern from camera systems that people are sharing to us or from other technology that we wouldn't have available. Then we start depending on, does a citizen happen to see the information you all put out that we give to you and actually call? So it really ends up becoming a much higher a chance situation that somebody actually saw the right vehicle versus us really being able to take this technology and help us provide direction to a very, very specific search pattern, for example. So hard to say, but I think this was a true enhancer in this situation.
I would just add, if I can, on that particular thing, a good example, and this is going back not that long in history locally, the Gannon Stout case, that technology, the automatic license plate reader system, the flock system, wasn't used as widely as it is today. And that defendant was able to get all the way from Colorado Springs to Pensacola, Florida with Gannon's body in the van. And if we had had access to that technology then, there's a chance that maybe we solved that case sooner than we did. And as you know, that went for quite some time before we were able to recover Gannon's body. And this sort of technology potentially would have helped us solve it in a much quicker and more efficient way. So that's a good example of how technology can be used to solve crime.
Interesting. And then how involved was the community with helping you guys out with, Ring cameras, et cetera? Did you see a pretty good reaction from them of people trying to help out?
So without going into any details, again, that's part of the investigation, and there are investigative factors that speak directly to your question. I won't be able to talk about them, but I will tell you that in general terms, there are a lot of community members who opt in and allow search of their system by themselves and then send us through a link the video. Not to mention all of the businesses that we have already available that have provided permissions for us just to go into their camera systems, plus all of the city-owned camera systems. So it's a huge benefit to have it. I just can't speak directly yet to this particular case.
Just follow up on that, though, does it, in any case, if you have a neighbor with a camera say, we see the car, and we know it took off this direction rather than that direction to help you book, I mean, is that how that helps as well in the emergency situation?
Right. So what a citizen can do, we can put out information, the citizen can search, like we might say, hey, this happened in this particular area of the city. They can search their cameras and they're like, oh, look, I think this is relevant. Then we provide them a link and they download it right into our system and we can look at it just almost immediately. Yes.
Chief Vasquez, can you explain what it was like in that moment, in the real-time crime center, when you saw that body-worn camera footage and knew that child was going to be safe?
Yeah, it was absolutely a relief. You saw the child start to cry, and I think everybody was heartbroken over that. You were so concerned, and I will tell you, a lot of my command staff that's in the back of the room was also in the real-time crime center, along with those detectives and analysts that were working it. And I think when a situation is unfolding just like this, they're so focused on trying to find, in this case, the child. So they're not necessarily thinking emotionally, but as soon as you see something like that, you can't help but to kind of think, wow, this is pretty amazing.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Mhm.
Piggybacking off of, Ring doorbell footage, all of that, did you guys get any tips that got you closer to finding the child?
We'll unfortunately have to hold that information for now, but I will tell you that having the community input, the eyes that are out there, those additional eyes that are out there, we've seen in many investigations be incredibly helpful.
Is there like a history or a number of how kind of maybe common this is, where just a guy is thinking he's stealing a car and then doesn't check the back seat and there's a child? Is there has that happened recently or in the past, and how is it similar?
Yeah, I am certain there is, but I couldn't tell you. I couldn't give you numbers or anything like that. I'm sure that's something we could probably find, but I don't have that information with me.
I apologize if I missed this, but so understanding is now one suspect that we're searching for, and do you have any sort of a description that the public can help to be on the lookout for?
Ira, did we give anything out yet? I can't remember.
No, so we're
right
working
now,
through the vehicle.
we'll have to, I know we're doing a lot of work still at this point in time, and if we can put that information out, we absolutely will.
Thank you.
And since it's been a day, do you know of any connection to the car crash that was just down the hill from that home where the car was stolen?
I don't think I have that information right now.
I have two quick ones. One, is there any charges pending for the child's guardian? That's question one. Question, go ahead.
No, so obviously, in this particular case, there's a lot of discussion that has to be had. The investigation has got to be completed before, so we know all of the facts. DA Allen and his team and my team will have discussions around that, but still a lot to investigate before we can make a determination like that.
The second question would be about the potential law that's being proposed. Is this something where you're going to invite the lawmakers to come down and view what happened? If this didn't happen, we didn't have this, we may not have this outcome. Is that something you guys are looking at?
So we have engaged with the regional, through Mayor Yemi, the regional legislators. We have our representatives and senators. We've met with them on a couple of occasions to give concerns around various pieces of legislation. The thing is, right now, with the legislative session just starting, those conversations were pre-legislative session. So now we have to regroup and have those conversations. Certainly using examples like this, I think, are paramount in our discussions with them. And I think we have a ton of examples that we can use, show them through our real-time crime center. Just been really beneficial, so we will use stuff like that.
If I could just add
Yeah,
something on that too. The other thing to keep in mind is that I know that Chief Vasquez will go up and testify against bills fairly regularly. I go up and testify against bills very, very regularly as well. And it's also similar to what Chief just talked about. It's very common for me to reach out to our local legislators and invite them to have discussions about different things. Some of them are receptive to those discussions, some of them are not, because they are really very focused on criminal justice reform that I described earlier. And for the ones that aren't willing to have those conversations on the front end, we'll have them in testimony at committee. And these two bills in particular, it's important to note too that every elected DA in the state of Colorado, so all 23 DAs oppose these two bills because they are so bad for public safety.
Anything else? So again, the clip that we played is up on the Facebook page. Again, I think just in closing, yesterday was the kind of result every parent would hope for once you get in that kind of horrible situation, and certainly the chief and command staff directed this exactly as we could. And just to explain one thing about that image that we had from the license plate recognition camera. So initially, as I understood it, what we were able to gather was the vehicle make, the vehicle model, color, and a partial license plate from the vehicle owner. We were able to put that much information in, and what came up was the image we shared yesterday on social media that was from 2 days ago. So that at least, again, allowed us to arm our officers with exact information of the vehicle they were looking for. It allowed us to share that, image with you, and it also allowed us at least real-time information that that vehicle had not passed through any of our locations, which kind of, again, helped officers know where to direct their search when they came across that vehicle yesterday. So,
She said that, can I follow up on that?
sure.
Maybe it's for the chief. So when we have this going on, our real-time cameras around the city are looking for that car along with the officers who are on patrol?
Yes. Yep. It was. So again, the officers, that image got sent out to their phones. They had the image, and that was actually the 2 patrol officers from our tactical team that drove past the vehicle and said, "Oh, we think that's the vehicle." That led to the moment that you saw.
So you were in the center, and explain this to me, because I started watching too many crime shows, and you'll sit there and you'll see them say, "I'm monitoring this camera in New York City, I've seen the car go through, that's the license plate." Do you have both eyes, and do you have technology looking for the license plate? And I don't know where all the cameras are, but hey, it just went through at Lake Avenue and whatever. The technology spotted or those who are in the crime. Can you kind of give me a visual on that?
Yeah, so it's an automated system, so it's reading license plates and finding the key factors in the license plate to make notifications. So there's an alarm that goes off when it discerns the information you're looking for. It would be really difficult via camera for a human to watch cars going through and actually see something like that. So it's an automated system that can pick that information up and notify.
But it is a resource during an event like this.
Correct.
It could pick it up and set off an alarm.
It's at this location, right?
And where was the car found?
So the car was found near here, actually, near the Springs Rescue Mission, just down south, west of here. Yeah.
I had a question for DA Allen. For those who might actually support the bill that you talked about, what would you have to say to them to, I guess, kind of alleviate their fears of surveillance?
I think what I would say to them about any fears that they might have is that these people in uniform that are in police uniforms are here to serve them, to make sure that their safety is upheld just like anybody else's. And there are so many checks in place to make sure that none of this stuff is being abused. And the chief talked about some of those things. There's police department policies that govern how they can use different technologies and data. There are the U.S. Constitution, the Colorado Constitution protect those things as well. And then finally, these things are tested in court. And so if there's something that might be questionable in a particular case, defense attorneys will typically file a motion to challenge the admissibility of whatever that information is. And then a judge will hear evidence and then make a determination. And routinely, these things are upheld as being lawful tools for law enforcement to use to solve crime and to hold evildoers accountable. And that's really what this gets back to. Every single person in this state deserves a strong measure of public safety. And these two bills will erode public safety for the entire state. Yep.
Can I add, let me just add just a little bit more to that also. Just the knowledge around these types of systems are all auditable. And so DA Allen is talking about this process that we go through in the courts. Everything that we do in these systems, I can't go into that system and do something without it knowing that I'm in there doing it. And so it is tracked immeasurably. And I also want to talk about our policies. If you want to understand the policies around how we can do what we do, related to the laws, related to the Constitution, both U.S. and state Constitution, everything in our policies is guided by those factors, and you can easily go right on our website, anybody, any citizen can, so that they can understand and learn how we make our decisions and how we're able to or not to do things like that.
Were other counties notified? Like, how quickly do you guys, check in with Castle Rock or Canyon City to be like kind of on alert for the same thing in case they were able to get out of town?
Right, we do have a notification system for our regional law enforcement partners down in Pueblo or wherever, and that's done very quickly through our communication center.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Appreciate you coming.
Thanks, everyone.